Welcome back to the Charlie Cook Cricket Podcast. Now, we haven't done this podcast for about 6 months, but this Ashes was so bad that it has brought me back. Here I am, joined with Joe once again. We are going to break down everything good that happened, everything bad that happened, best players, worst players. There's more worst players than there is best players. I'll let you know who they are. As we get into it, I'm going to say, Joe, did you enjoy that Ashes? Was that fun? If you compare that to the India series that we've just had in the summer, where does this rank in like Ashes series?
Oh, for me, it's one of the worst in terms of the quality of cricket that we watched. I've got to say it's one of the worst. Like, that's not to say it was just a terrible. The standard was terrible throughout, but it really was. It wasn't great as well. A lot of Australia's big names weren't there, which didn't help.
Yeah.
Like Cummins obviously played one test. Hazelwood didn't play at all. Like it was tough at times to sort of watch, and especially we're probably looking at it in an even worse perspective because England got absolutely hammered. So it probably makes it even worse. But like obviously there was some. We'll obviously dive into this, but there were some individual performances that were good to watch throughout. So that obviously was you're always going to get that in a test series, obviously, but that made it more bearable, let's say. But it's probably the worst Ashes series in terms of quality that I can remember. Like going back to the first one I can remember probably is 10-11, and from there, like it's all kind of down under. Obviously, been downhill, and this is one of the worst in terms of actual quality from both sides. I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that comes. The problem is, the thing that I had going into this series, and my prediction for this series was England would win 3-2. And that was more on Australia being worse than they have been. There's a lot of talk of Stuart Broad's best England side, worst England side since 2010, and it's kind of right. Maybe the best. I think that 2013 side that came to Australia was probably better than this one, but and I think the thing that a lot of Australians has missed is a case of it's not the fact of Australia are bad. It's just they've been so good. They've been like 17, 18, 2021 was basically this team, but in its prime. And now thought was, okay, they're a little bit worse this time. Okay, they've added Travis Head, and Travis Head's an incredible player. But they were so much better, and obviously we knew that we were going to miss Hazelwood. Lyon is 37, 38 now. Cummins was going to miss Tess and end up only playing one. That was where the worst team since 2010 came from, and it's kind of shown. And I think you will probably talk about it later about like combined 11s and stuff. There's been 4 Australia players for me. I mean, Head, Stark, Carey, Boland have won Australia this Ashes with 4 incredible performances, and they've been incredible. They've been so much better. But if you go back to that 17-18, you go back to that, maybe not 2021, but definitely 17-18, there was 7 of those performances. So that's where the difference is. I think that's why a lot of England fans thought that they had a chance. Any England fans that had watched any of Australian cricket and saw that they gave India chances in the last BGT, saw that if there's a couple of decisions that go the right way in the West Indies back in July, then West Indies have a chance. They obviously lost to the West Indies the previous summer. They very, very nearly lost. If Pakistan could catch, we talk about Pakistan winning tests in Australia in that series. Like there was chances there, and I think that's what the annoying thing is. And I completely understand that Australia fans come out and say, well, why did you say that you were going to beat us? But I think England definitely had a chance, and as an England fan, that's the most annoying thing about this series.
Yeah, it feels like an opportunity missed on it, especially the build-up over McCullum and Stokes' entire tenure, which again I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot. That everything was put on the Ashes, right? Everything was put on the Ashes, like Bashir, the project surrounding Bashir, that was for the Ashes, and he didn't play a test. Like there was so much on this series, and unfortunately, England obviously just didn't deliver outside of a few players. Like in terms of like individuals, outside of a few, there wasn't really much to write home about.
Yeah, and no one for England had like especially the batters.
Yeah. I don't think
None
any
of the batters had a
was.
great series. The batters
No.
there was a couple of batters that had great performances.
Well, I guess you could
Um,
argue Bethel had a great series. He played 2 games,
yeah,
obviously got his ton, got a really important 40 at Melbourne. Like, I guess you could argue he had a great series.
yeah, his series was
That's I'm sort of
great.
scraping the barrel there. Yeah,
Yeah, but it was just 2 tests, and it was only when the Ashes was dead is the
exactly. Yeah,
issue. I do.
yeah,
He's such a special player. He's so
yeah,
special, and if I said that he should. Now I've gone back and forth with what I've said. At points, I've said that Bethel should have played at the start of the summer. I think I was very much before that Zimbabwe test that Bethel should play. And then when Pope scored that 170 against Zimbabwe, and got to say, okay, it's kind of difficult because at the time Bethel was really kind of he had that great series against New Zealand, and but it's just a little bit unproven. And England were going into such a big 10 test matches. And I think it was a massive risk to go, okay, we're going to throw this 21, 22-year-old in to what everyone is calling the biggest series of our lives, Brendan McCullum. I just think that that was a real risk. And I understood the Pope selection. I wouldn't have done it, but I understood the Pope selection.
yeah. It was probably the debate of the tour. Well, it's been the debate of the year. Well, of 2025 for England, really, since Bethel got runs in New Zealand up until the Boxing Day test, essentially, when everyone sort of knew Pope had to be dropped. It got to that point, unfortunately. And I like Pope. I think he's a good player. He's not a number 3, and I've said that all along. Like,
No.
we saw that in New Zealand when he batted at 6. He was much, much better, and sort of hide him from the new ball is maybe a bit of a harsh way of phrasing it, but if you do that, I think you're going to get a much better Test cricketer. But unfortunately, he's not a number 3. Bethel's got a much sounder technique. Like, well, Bethel's basically obviously got a near perfect technique. Like, he's unbelievable. And the fact that he's only 22 is just, I mean, this is someone who's going to be around for like the next 13, 15 years for England. Like, I don't know how many tests England are going to play in that time. Who knows? But you're talking to someone who could touch like root levels,
Well,
like cup levels, that sort of.
I know this sounds ridiculous, but there is a lot smarter people than me and a lot more knowledgeable about cricket who have already penciled him down for 10,000 test runs.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, 100%. I don't think that's a doubt. Like, for me, it only depends on how many tests England are actually going to play in that time.
Yeah,
But
and injuries and everything else that
of
goes
course,
with
of
it.
course. Like, but the intangibles you can't really do anything about. Like,
Yeah,
assuming England continue with the schedule, 100% is in at 10,000 test runs. Like,
yeah,
I think he's a shooter. Yeah.
yeah, he is such a talent. But the series result 4-1 Australia in the end, and I think that was really fair. I think there was a way that England won those last 2 test matches, and I just don't think that would have been fair on Australia. I think that makes it. I don't think that England deserve to be whitewashed. I think they played cricket at the right times, and I know teams don't deserve, and it's just whoever turns up on the day. But if we would have walked away from that 5-0, I thought that wouldn't have been that representative of this series. England being able to get a win down there kind of felt where both teams are. Probably a little bit more that Australia weren't as good as they have been compared to how good England were. But I thought 4-1 was really fair.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, really. That the gap between the two sides, even though Australia are obviously the strongest, was pretty large, especially with the England's batting versus their bowling, Stark and Boland especially, and Nista, who was brilliant, by the way. That gap was so big that it feels like a fair result. And obviously, Root, Bethel both got runs, or sort of both got had standout innings, but there wasn't really much more apart from that. And I do think it feels like a fair result overall. I said 3-1 going into the series. I thought England maybe could have won in Perth. Obviously, like, this is before anything had sort of happened with the preparation or anything like that. I thought England maybe could have won in Perth, and then one of the tests would have been a washout. Obviously, it wasn't to be like that, and I was clearly an optimist. So,
Yeah, I really think that England had to win in Perth.
yeah, definitely.
And you look back to that Perth test, and they were in it as well. And I think the thing that you miss, especially about that Perth test, is because it was over so quick, and that Travis Head innings. Like, I actually had to go back and watch the Travis Head innings again because I was so angry that it was happening at the time that I didn't get a chance to appreciate how good it was.
Yeah, yeah. It was like off the scale. Like it was abnormal, really. I think the other thing
yeah,
that really cost England in
we're
that test
talking
was
all time Ashes knocks in that
oh yeah,
Perth
yeah, yeah,
test. Like
100%, 100%. Like he just took like that could have gone. What was it like 200 and something to win, wasn't it? I
yeah, it
can't
was
remember the exact score.
just over 200, or 220, something
Yeah,
like that.
that could have easily gone England's way. Like 3 or 4 early wickets, expose the middle order, and you never know. But I mean, like I say, all time greatest Ashes, or one of the all time great Ashes innings. And I think the other thing that really killed England in that test was no Mark Wood. Like he bowled
Yeah,
11 overs, I think in total, from what I can remember. And
it was
obviously
about
a
three in
bowler
that
down.
chase as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Yeah, a bowler down, but also someone like Mark Wood, who is someone who can just go and buy you a wicket out of nowhere. He's someone who can just go and rush a batter, and one pops up off the glove or something like that, anything. And yeah, I think that really sort of killed English chances.
Yeah, and also the Australia media were ready to go. They were ready to turn on this team. You listen to any of the kind of the day's reviews on day one of that test, they were ready to bury this team. They were there was the Kawaja stuff about the golf, the back spasms, everything else, and that they were going to get blown away by this incredible England pace attack and everything else that went with it. And England were there, and it was just, again, the bowling wasn't very good, and it's a point that we're going to always come back to in that second innings. Travis Head's innings was incredible, but I can't remember who said it. It might have been Nasser or something like that on the Sky Sports Cricket podcast today. But the one thing that I will remember from this series is Travis Head cutting the ball. I have seen Travis Head cut the ball so many times
Literally, yeah,
because of
literally.
how short and wide England have bowled to him throughout the
I mean,
series.
it was like he couldn't have. I think Travis Head was like this is the best I've ever seen Travis Head bat in a series. I think I've never seen him bat better than that, especially given the fact that he was opening the batter, which he'd never done it outside of the subcontinent before. And England really played into his hands, didn't they, with the persistent short and wide bowling, which maybe was a ploy to try and sort of make his strength his weakness sort of thing. But after a bit, you've got to say, come on, this isn't working. And it's got to be a point where you attack the stumps or try and get him out in any other way. And maybe that's where England could have done with a frontline spin. I know Head's a great player with spin, but again, strengths into weaknesses, especially if you've got an off spinner. Bashir was obviously in the squad. I don't think Jax did badly, but he wasn't. That's not Jax's role. He's not a frontline spinner and a number 8 at all. So I actually felt sorry for Jax. I think he did well. I also think he batted pretty well across the series without
Yeah.
getting a real meaningful total. But that's maybe where you could get someone like a Bashir or someone like that into the side, and he's just the sort of guy who can go and buy him a wicket and get Head out. We've seen Bashir buy wickets loads of times. Even whatever your opinion is on him, there's no doubt he'll go and get you a wicket at some point.
Yeah.
So he's going to get someone caught at the boundary or something like that. So I think that's probably where England missed that sort of dimension to their attack, I guess.
Yeah, I can't believe we're 15 minutes in and we haven't mentioned Mitch Stark yet.
Yes.
31 wickets at about 19, I think he took them at. I want to say that he was incredible because I think he is, and I'm glad that Stark kind of got the plaudits because obviously he won Player of the Series, and those fast bowlers are always kind of lumped together, and it's not always Stark that will get the kind of medal out of those three. I would personally have in my own rankings Stark number 3 out of Hazelwood and Cummins. If I had to pick a test 11, I think it's nice that Stark complements them so well with that left arm angle. But to pick up 31 wickets and basically win them the Ashes, those first 2 tests, he takes 10 for in the Perth game. He flies through him at the Gabba and with a pink ball as well, as you'd expect from him. Has he got any memorable spells from this series?
Well, it's funny. He obviously got the 7th for, and I guess that England played Stark badly. I think like Stark bowled well, but England played him really badly, and that's what's so frustrating about this. Is for me, Head would be my player of the series for Australia. I would have given Head player of the series overall, and obviously for Australia as well. Therefore, for me, he had a better series than Stark, and I know Stark got a load of wickets, but I just don't think England played him particularly well, and that was really frustrating because some of the shots that England got out to, if you think about like the constant driving on the up or just flashing outside off stump, like it's quite basic. Like, don't do that in a test match, sort of thing.
Don't do that in Australia in a test match.
Well, 100%. Don't do that in Australia.
It's even worse.
It's like basic knowledge. Like, you should know that as a test cricketer going to Australia. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. Of course, it's going to happen. People make mistakes, but it's almost like the continuation to keep on doing that, chipping it back to him and just driving outside or stump. Like, come on, like back with your brain a little bit. And obviously that was a theme throughout the series from England's point of view, is the lack of smarts used when batting. But I think Stark bowled well, but I don't think he bowled 31 wickets in a series well. I mean, they're like all-time numbers, and I think I've seen Stark bowl way better than that in a series.
He bowled better in the West Indies.
Otherwise.
He bowled better in the West Indies 6 months ago.
100, like when he in the pink ball test, he got, was it 3 wickets in the first over, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, he was 6 for 9. He took in that.
Yeah. That is like Stark at his very best. Like, he bowled very well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take anything away from the guy at all, but I think as well as him bowling well, England played him so badly.
Well, those first 2 tests, all he just realised really quickly that if I just bowl a wobble ball that goes across the right hander, they are going to try and hit it.
Yeah, 100%.
Instead of leave it.
And England don't have, well, Stokes is, and Duckett as well, but the majority of the middle order and top 7 is right-handers. So he was in the money, like he really was. And we saw him, obviously, 31 wickets at 19 is an exceptional effort. I'm not trying to take anything away from him at all. But I also think, as well as he bowled, I've seen him bowl better than that in Ashley's series and other series, like say West Indies a few months ago. And also England played him really, really badly, I thought, on the whole.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would have had Travis Head. Again, you could probably go to the same mantra of England just fed Travis Head's cut and pull for most of his innings.
I think what Head did at the top of the order won them the series, really.
That completely changed the series.
Of course, he won them the first test, and then you could argue won them the Adelaide test as well. And what was his other 100? Oh, the SCG. Well, obviously, that was a huge 100 as well, so you could argue again, won them that. And he was striking at 87 as well in the series. Like, again, England didn't bowl great too, but how do you stop that? Like, he was just unbelievable. And the other player who I think could have won Australia Player of the Series, potentially an outside shout, is definitely Carey. I mean, his batting was really good at, number 6, number 7, but his keeping was exceptional. That's probably the best I've ever seen someone wicket keep in a series, in a 5-match test series. He was unbelievable, up to the stumps and Nisa and Boland so often, and just made it look easy. Like, it was ridiculous.
But so you go back to the 2023 Ashes and to Boland. England used their feet really, really well to him. And he just stopped it, just completely stopped it. I think that England could have done it more. I think they still could have tried to use their feet a little bit more, even with Carey up to the stump.
I was going to say, just because they keep it up, just hit the ball, then it's not a problem.
Yeah. Like, how many times has Harry Brook charged down the wicket, kind of gone outside off stump, and hit the ball over extra cover? He does it all. It's his shot. He's very good at it. I know it looks awful, and when he does it first ball to Mitch Stark, it looks stupid. It makes sense to take that risk when you're in, not when you've just come to the crease. When you're starting to see the ball a little bit better, and that gap opens up, I still think you can play that shot even with the keeper up to the stumps.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the sort of calculated risks that England didn't take. England, I've already said, they didn't bat with their head. I think that's a very well documented thing. There was no sort of game plan. It felt like they just wanted to whack the ball. And Bethel is the best example. And Bethel, Stokes and Root, but I think especially look at Bethel's innings, his ton. He soaked up pressure so well. I mean, he was striking at 55, 60 maybe?
Yeah, it wasn't slow. What was he, 150 off
153 off 200 and something like that, yeah. So that's about 50, 60 sort of strike rate in that sort of region. And he soaked up pressure. England can learn a lot just by watching that Bethel innings. Like, he soaks up pressure so well. He, was sort of able to recognise a game situation, and it didn't affect him once. If he had to take a couple of overs without scoring many runs, he was happy to do that, and I think that was so impressive. So yeah, I definitely think that lack of calculated risk was just needed to be there for England a little bit more, just to sort of create problems for Australia. Because if you've got Carey up to the stumps and you're still charging Boland, well then you can argue what's the point of Carey being up to the stumps? That just makes his job harder. Even though, as I said, he was exceptional, that makes his job harder. So
yeah, and I think they got spooked. I think they got really spooked at the at Perth in the first test, and then at the Gabba in the first innings of not. So they played aggressive in those first two tests, and they drove on the up and everything else that came with it. The two bounciest pitches in Australia, we know this pink ball test. It was a time that you probably had to take a little bit less risks, or not even that. I just think it's get rid of that horizontal bat shot. Get rid of that driving on the up. Cut, pull. Look at Travis Head's innings. Sort of 69 ball 100. Like he wasn't playing sensibly, but he knew his scoring areas. He knew how to score in Australia and did it well. And then all of a sudden, England get scared and take this backward step and don't quite know how to play it because all of a sudden you've got Ben Stokes coming out at the end of the Gabba test. This isn't the place for weak men. We need Rob Key after we lose the Ashes. We've got to make better decisions, stupid shots. McCullum's saying the same thing. And it's like, you've had 4 years of this, of just finish it. This is it. This is you. If you lose the Ashes here, you're probably done. Just die on the sword. Like, just go and play properly. I'm not saying that England didn't play enough stupid shots, because my God, there was enough stupid shots. But at no point did they play to their strengths. England have selected attacking batsmen for the last, I don't want to say during this Baswell, because there's been different iterations, but since there is after the India tour in 24, that's kind of a new, that's kind of Basball 2.0, if you want to call it, where Jamie Smith comes into the side. When Gus Atkinson, Brian Carson, the bowling changes, you get rid of Ollie Robinson, you get rid of Bairstow, you get rid of Folkes, and everything else that changes there.
Leach as well.
Leach went. Obviously, Bashir comes in. There was obviously more changes, but I think Jamie Smith coming into that side is a bit of a catalyst for it, because we selected a batter that can bat aggressively with the tail, and all of a sudden you're asking him to not bat aggressively when you've picked him because he bats aggressively. Now, Jamie Smith doesn't seem like the type to just... He looks like he takes an order very well. So if you say to him, I want you to do this, he's going to go do it. Then all of a sudden, if you told him to do this for 2 years, then all of a sudden, after 3 tests and you've lost the Ashes, you tell him to do something else, he's going to be very confused by it. And it was just so confusing for all of that England setup.
Yeah, it was. There was a real lack of clarity. Like there was no sort of, this is how we're going to go. I think that was probably sent out in, well, I can't remember. I think it must have been the day-night test, right? When Stokes got that really slow inning, played that really slow innings. That is, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with that. I think he played fine for the situation, which is what we're talking about here. But that is the complete opposite of how the team have played since McCullum and Stokes took over.
Yeah.
And he's basically ripped up their playbook and is playing a completely different way. And again, that's good because that shows adaptability to the situation. And you'd expect that from your Stokes, your Roots, those kind of people. But it was also like kind of mixed messages. I just think that lack of ability to sort of bat without thinking, and some of the shots, like Smith's shot that he played to Marnus, like that he got out to in the SCG, was just, that's one of the worst dismissals I've ever. And I absolutely love Jamie Smith. There's people saying like, drop Jamie Smith. I don't think that should happen at all. I think Jamie Smith is a quality player, but that was a really, really poor dismissal. That was a really bad one, and I think that sort of encapsulated the whole tour for England with the bat. I really do.
Yeah, it was poor, but the thing, Jamie Smith has had others. Not this isn't his first one. This isn't his first stupid shot. It's not Harry Brook's
No,
first
no, no,
stupid shot.
no. Of course,
Uh,
of course.
they are known for it. I mean, Jacks gave him a run for his money in that third innings with the shot off Webster to be caught at mid wicket. But that's a management thing. Someone has said to him before he goes out to bat, take on the spinner. Let's get the quicks back on.
But that's Jack's natural game. Like that, I know he bottled the chance to show how good he is at number 6. But that is how Will Jacks plays in red ball cricket, white ball cricket. That is what Will Jacks is known for. So
Yeah.
there's like I think there's worse dismissals than that, because at least like if you hit that a tiny bit better, that's going to turn Rose back, and we're all sitting there saying what a shot. So that one's not angered me as much. I also don't think, rightly or wrongly, Jacks doesn't have much of a test future outside of this setup. So, well, or at least with the amount of red ball cricket he currently plays, I don't think he does. And I'm a huge fan of Will Jackson, but I think he was misused in this series. I think the other shot that people seem to really get frustrated by, which again I don't mind too much, or don't mind is a wrong phrase, but didn't annoy me as much as I think others did, was Smith's dismissal at Adelaide when he hit Stark. I can't remember if he hit Stark for 4 or 6, and then
Yeah.
swiped at one on his pads, which was there to hit as well. It was there for that shot, and skied it. Obviously got caught, and people were sort of losing their heads at that a little bit. And I don't think it was that bad. Like,
No, I didn't think it was. I
that's
didn't
Jamie
mind
Smith.
that.
That's what his role is. That's what he's sent out to do.
He'd hit 4 boundaries before that.
Exactly. Like,
So if he hits the second one up in the air, you say, "Oh, you've just got a boundary, just chill out." He does it on the third one, you say, "You've just hit 2 boundaries, chill out." You do it on the fourth one, you've hit 3 boundaries, chill out. Like, it's always, if someone gets out playing an attacking shot, it's always going to be that.
yeah, of course.
And I think the situation that they were in the game with such a big chase, and they were still 150 runs behind. I think he
Yeah.
had to play that way.
He was never just gonna. Him and Jats were never gonna get there by spending time in the middle. They had to
No.
basically just go for it. And there was a time when I thought, like, hold on, they could do this. Like, I really genuinely did think for a little bit, like, this could be that sort of moment of magic that England need, which is frustrating because then obviously if they had done that one at Melbourne, maybe you never know what would happen.
And Smith the night before played very sensibly.
Yeah, 100%.
He was like 4 off 30 overnight, and found a bit of rhythm in the morning and started to hit some boundaries and looked really good doing it. And then
And it's the same with Jax as well. Like Jax, I don't remember how Jax got out in that test. I can't remember.
He was caught behind when he.
Oh,
it was because he was batting with
Cars, yeah. But like that's what when I said earlier that I thought Jax played well, like batted well in the series. I genuinely did. I think he was one of the players who soaked up pressure well. He batted well with Stokes in Brisbane, and I genuinely thought he had like a decent series with the bat in a role that's just not Will Jack's role at all. So it's one of them things. Like I say, I'm not sure about his Test future. I'm a huge fan of Will Jacks. I think he can be a Test cricketer. Absolutely, I'd love to see him play more red ball cricket for Surrey and sort of maybe reassess the situation. Almost how Sam Curran it just drops back in for Surrey when he's got a spare moment and plays red ball cricket. And Sam Curran's someone who I think could potentially make a Test return at some stage. But yeah, I think Jack sort of almost needs to go down that same route if he wants to pursue red ball cricket. And it seems like he does. I don't see why he wouldn't. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with Jax is that he's obviously not a good enough spinner to play as a frontline spinner.
Yep.
If he can improve that, then that's fine. He's got a place in the side for me because I think he's a fantastic fielder. Apart from that drop catch that happens, that does happen sometimes. So we will go to drop catches at some point, but he was looking at the rope because he thought he was closer than he was, and he just looked down at the wrong moment. Sometimes it happens.
It is what it is, isn't it?
Constance dropped an absolute sitter in the BBL yesterday, day before. Like, absolute sitter, looked exactly the same. It does happen. But he's not good enough to have a middle order spot over Root, Brook, Stokes, Smith, and he's not quite a good enough spinner to pick him. Again, on pitches like We got the Oval at the end of the summer on Perth, Adelaide. No, it's not Adelaide. Sorry, the Gabba. Absolutely fine. That
Yeah,
works because you can
yeah,
extend the batting,
100%.
and he offers you something that is slightly better than Root's bowling.
Yeah,
Um, Whether they want to go 3 part-time spinners now that Bethel's come into the side, I think probably Root and Bethel will be able to do enough. But I don't see the point of playing 5 seamers. I think that's a bit overkill. Um, so just 4 seamers for me, and extend the batting lineup. Bit of part-time bowling. I think Jacks can fill that role, but we know what pitches we get in England at the moment, and they're not that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think like I said, I'm a huge fan of Jackson. I want to see him play more red ball cricket because the dismissal that he got Smith out with was brilliant in the second innings. Like that was a really good ball, and I think he has the makings of a potentially good test off spinner, or like sort of good can fill a role, not sort of
Yeah,
Swan level. But I think he's almost play. He's a white ball spinner, where I think he's a red ball batter as well as a white ball, but I think he's just a white ball spinner in a way.
yeah.
So I think that sort of works against him. But I like Jax. I'm a fan of his. I would definitely not be opposed if he just went back, played red ball cricket for Surrey, obviously in the IPL and stuff, isn't he? So that's probably not going to happen for a while. But I would like to see him back in the fold potentially because I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I just one Australia player that I do want to mention, and then we'll really give a kind of go through the England team. Scott Boland was just incredible this series. Just it's
Yeah,
what he does. He was so difficult to score against, and he's not. I think what was he 20 wickets at 25? I think he ended up with.
something there or thereabouts. Yeah,
It's not his series that he had against India last year, where he averaged 13. Um, but he was just impossible to hit. He really was, and again, helped by Carey coming up to the stumps, helped by England not being as aggressive as they have been with him going back to that 2023 series. But it's handkerchief every time, just on a length, same line, and it is metronomical. And God, he is good.
did you see Bethel talk about how he was happy Webster came on? I
Yeah,
think it was in the press conference at the end because basically he couldn't hit
yeah,
Poland. And I think that shows this is a guy who's in the 90s, was on what 98, 99, I can't remember exactly what he was on. And this is a guy who is about to get his maiden test 100. It's a huge moment for him. And he was desperate for Bolden to go off. And I thought it was a bit like, yeah, I'm not necessarily one to criticise Smith's captaincy because I think he's a great captain, but I think that was a bit of an odd move from Smith, actually. And I'm really, really happy for Bolden because he's someone who he's a bit of a late bloomer. He is sort of similar to Nisa as well. It's just he's had more opportunities than Nisa. They're never going to get into that side, no matter how good they bowl, when you've got Cummins, Hazelwood, and Stark, because those three are just on another planet.
mm,
So for Bowler to have got a full series, albeit at the expense of Hazelwood's injury, which was a real shame because I thought he was looking very good. Before in the white ball series against India, especially, that was unbelievable bowling in that T20 series. And Boland just got that chance, and I'm so happy for him because he really, really took it. Showed exactly why he's so highly rated, and yeah, like you said, there was things that helped him. But I think for Bethel to say that, to specifically highlight that when he was in the 90s, in the high 90s, is testament to how good Boland is.
yeah. I agree. Okay, England. Should we start? Let's start with let's top of the order. Crawley Duckett. We'll start with Crawley. He was earmarked for this series since 4 years ago. 4 years ago, he had a 70 at the SCG, and it looked pretty good. And they thought, okay, we're going to pick him, and we're going to go forward doing that. And we've kept him in the side for 4 years. He's averaged 27. Um, it hasn't been a great series. I don't think it's been a terrible series. What do you think?
Crawley is a funny player because when he's in, he's so good to watch. Like there aren't many people in county cricket whose cover drive I prefer watching. In full flow, he's just exceptional. But it's the getting in which Crawley struggles with. Same with Pope as well. Those first 20, 30 balls, they can be a real struggle for Crawley and Pope. But obviously, talking about Crawley specifically, his habit of just fishing outside of stuff. You can see when he's batting, it's almost hard for him to, or it looks hard for him to stop himself from doing that and to leave the ball. It does look like it takes sort of like real sort of effort, I guess, in a way. So it was frustrating to watch at times. The knocks that he did get in, he obviously got a couple of 50s, and I think he played well in those innings. I think Crawley's a good player, but it comes to a point of this is a guy averaging 30 in 60 tests. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but at what point do you draw the line? Like, there's got to be some sort of like, okay, this is it. Like we had with Pope after 3 tests of this series, was like, we have to change now. At what point does that change happen with Crawley? Because I respect how much England back there. I respect how much faith Key and Stokes McCullum and Stokes and Key put into their team. Whether you agree with it or not, you've got to respect the trust that they have in these players and the backing. But there's got to be a point where you almost say, okay, it's not really working. And we saw glimmers of how good Crawley can be, but I think this was pretty much a standard Crawley series, really, unfortunately.
What you would expect from him, wasn't it? I mean, I thought he was going to be really good this series. He was my pick for the top run scorer throughout, just because I kind of believed the hype a little bit. I thought, okay, we've picked him. He does have a really good record against high class pace. Like Rabada, Bumrah, Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, he averages 50. Like it is ridiculous, and it's unfortunately the Boland Nisa types that get him out. Stark had his number a little bit a couple of times on some difficult pitches, but I think you go back to the last time that Crawley was really into being dropped, and the start of that 2023 Ashes, had a great Ashes, and then had a pretty good India series after that as well. There didn't feel like there was any other options in county cricket at the time. There is now 5 or 6 options that I really think you could look at in county cricket. I think you could look at Hamid, Sibley, Asa Tribe, Tom Haynes, who else?
Emilio Gay. Definitely.
Emilio Gay, Ben McKinney.
Yeah. And another name I'm going to put out there, this is a bit of a rogue shout, but I think James Rew would make a brilliant opening batter. I think Somerset need an opener. Thomas Rew has broke through now, and he obviously kept wicket for the Lions. So it wouldn't surprise me if you saw James Rew open for Somerset at the start of the season, Thomas Rew wicket keep, and if Rew does well, I would throw him in. I would.
I'd have Rew any day.
I want Rew in the team anyway, but this feels like a great window of opportunity for him to get into the team. So I don't know. That's just like another little sort of outside shout, maybe that like, sort of an idea that I had in my head. I do think he'd make a brilliant red ball opener, Rew. He's obviously a great player anyway, but I think I could see him sort of making a name for himself. And Tribe is the other one for me who has to play at some point. I think it's just a case of I would personally want him to have 1 more year in Division 1. Sorry, 1 year in Division 1. Just I don't know, personal preference. I don't think there's any need to rush Tribe. I mean, he's clearly a quality player. He's clearly going to be a Test cricketer. And I think Rew's ready now. It's just a case of could he maybe open the batting? I don't know. The other name who failing those who would be Emilio Gay. For me, I think he's fits the style of cricket that England want to play. I think he's a quality player. So those 3 for me would be the options.
I'd go. I think I'd go Tribe now, and I
wouldn't be opposed to that either.
I wouldn't have 3 days ago. But I saw Bethel score one of the best centuries I've seen in Australia, by an away player on basically his second ever Ashes game, and I thought, do you know what? Maybe if you just throw them to the wolves, kind of throw them in the deep end and see if they sink or swim, when they've got that much talent that I think Asa Tribe has, maybe that's the way to go. And kind of if it doesn't work in the for that summer, then you say, okay, thank you, go back to county cricket, learn your craft a little bit more, and you'll be picked in 2 years' time. This is not the end.
I wouldn't be opposed to Tribe playing. Like
No.
I'm just being picky there, but like if Tribe was to play, like I think he's quality. Like last season when he was playing Glamorgan 2s, which is crazy that he started the season in the 2s. I was like saying Glamorgan need to pick him. Glamorgan, I've got to pick this guy, and obviously we've seen how good he is as a result. Obviously
he started the year at Cardiff Uni, didn't he?
Yeah. Cardiff Uni and playing 2s for Glamorgan, and they were like he was piling them on in the 2s, and I was like, they've got to pick him. They have to pick him at some point, and eventually they did. And yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
The other opener is Ben Duckett. Had an absolutely awful series. Great time in Noosa, but awful series. I didn't think it was going to work for Duckett anyway in Australia. I did not think it was going to work. Nothing about his technique said to me this man is going to succeed in Australia. He's 4'0". He plays with an angled bat, and he never leaves anything. It was never going to go right. However, it does work everywhere else, and he has kind of proved that. So let's not. Again, it's going back to that Jamie Smith thing. Let's hold our horses going into this series. Ben Duckett was one of the best openers in world cricket. Let's not get rid of Duckett now because he's had one bad series in conditions that were never ever going to suit his technique.
Everyone has bad series at the end of the day. That's why people have just decided JB Smith is never going to succeed now, and that infuriates me. If you want to decide that about Crawley or Pope after 3, 4, 5 bad series, I understand. But JB Smith had one bad, well, 5 bad tests, and also I don't think he's played badly in all 10 innings he's had. So yeah, the same with Duckett. Like I agree. I think Duckett was definitely going to struggle in Australia. He's played franchise cricket. He's played in the Big Bash, but he's never really done anything and that's against a white ball. So it's definitely going to be a struggle against a red ball, and it's a shame. But I love Duckett. I think he's a quality player. I wouldn't sort of like at all under any circumstances like want to drop him or anything like that. I think he's brilliant.
No, he still outscored Weatherald, Stokes, Khawaja, Green, Jacks, Hope. Is there any other batters there? Inglis played a couple of games. Anyone else that played 5?
Out of interest, did he outscore Stark?
He did outscore Stark, although Stark had a higher average.
No, well,
owed to a nod out in one of the innings. Duckett looked good until he got to 20, and then just couldn't make it past 40.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Duckett almost experienced the case of the 20-30 ball thing as well in this series. That he's never really experienced before. I don't think. Like Duckett's usually really good at sort of getting to 40 and then kicking on. He's pretty good at converting those 40 into 70s, 80s, and beyond sometimes. But yeah, wasn't a series for him, I guess. And it's one bad series. It's a shame the timing of it, but it's one bad series.
I think I'd drop Crawley. I would keep Duckett. That's where I stand.
I would probably agree. Yeah, I would agree. And then whoever the opener is, Rue as like my outside bet, Tribe or Gay. Like I wouldn't be opposed to any of those.
I wouldn't be opposed to any of the kind of 7 or 8 that we've mentioned. To be fair,
no, definitely.
If they want to go back to Sibley or Hamid, I'd be.
Well, I just don't see that happening. Like, I would also be fine with that, but I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
It depends who the coach and the captain is. I think if McCullum and Stokes and Key are still there, then no, we're not getting Sibley. We're not getting Hamid. I think Hamid, if Stokes moves on if we move on from Stokes as captain, which I don't think we will, Hamid has a really good shout of possibly coming in as captain. If we throw everything out and everyone's gone and we need new captains and coaches and opening batters and everything else, I think Hamid's got a shout at that. Obviously, county championship winning captain with Notts this year and had a great season with the bat. Our troubled number 3 position, well, no longer troubled, because obviously Starboy is now in. Ollie Pope had a miserable series, didn't he? I kind of feel sorry for him.
He was really not good. It was excuse me, it was tough to watch sometimes because he was the biggest victim for driving on the up. How many times did he get out caught on board? At least twice, I think, off the top of my head. Like it was, he looked good in the first innings in Perth as well. And I was watching.
Yeah, he did.
Thinking, obviously, he got that ton at Lilac Hill as well. And I was watching him thinking, okay, this is good. Like he looks really, really good here. But it's the same as always with Pope. He starts the series up here and then just quickly drops to here. Like within the space of, well, this instance, 3 tests. It was tough. But unfortunately for him, Bethel's obviously now a lot like there's no chance Bethel loses that place for a decade, like I said, a decade plus. So Pope's going to have to find a new way back into the team, whether that's his Root's eventual replacement in however many years. But that's so far down the line. Who knows? You've obviously got Thomas Root coming through as well. He's going to get into it. That's pretty much a given that Thomas Root's going to play international cricket. So it's going to be hard for Pope, but he is someone who will most definitely go and play a lot of county cricket for Surrey and probably succeed because he is a very, very good batter.
Yeah,
It's Bethel's spot now. So,
I mean, you'd almost say that the best way back in the side for him is as a keeper batsman. But
yeah.
all of a sudden, I mean, you're second in that number 3 spot. You might be 7th in that keeper batter spot.
Yeah.
He's
not even going to keep for Surrey. So that means if he's going to do that, he's going to have to keep regularly. Therefore, he's going to have to leave Surrey or hope Folks leaves. Like,
yeah. I mean, Jamie Smith don't keep for Surrey. They're on Ollie Pope.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, if you're picking keeper batters over Ollie Pope right now, okay, Thomas Rue's probably a little bit too young, but I'm picking James Rue over him before I go to Ollie Pope. I'm picking Ollie Robinson before I go to Ollie Pope. I'm picking Jamie Smith, obviously. I'm picking Jordan Cox.
Yeah, would you pick Folks over him? Personally, I wouldn't. I don't really rate Folks as much as other people do, though. So
I mean, he's a fantastic keeper, obviously.
He's a great keeper, but I don't think I don't really rate him as a batter that much.
No, do you know the one thing that I will say? I tweeted it the other day, is that, and I think you almost missed out with it with the Bethel innings. Is you go back to that Pope innings in that first test in India, where he scored that incredible 196, and there was highlights on Twitter the other day when Pope got dropped and saw how good he was in that innings. It was one of the best innings I've ever seen. But folks kind of caught him as England were collapsing and kind of wickets were falling around Pope. Folks caught him and kind of scored like 20 off 70. Yeah, and just stayed with him.
Folks is good at that. I just don't think I've never really been sold on Folks beyond. He's one of those players who I would put in a bracket of really good county cricketer, not quite good enough international cricketer.
Yeah.
Someone like a Dan Lawrence would probably be in that category. I think he's been a bit hard done by, maybe like a James Vince. That sort of category of batter. I'm not questioning his keeping. He's a flawless keeper, pretty much. Like unbelievable, the best in the country.
The best in the world for me. I'd still have him over. As good as Carey's been, I'd still have Folks at the clubs over Carey.
Fair enough. I don't think that's
obviously I'd have Carey with the bat over Folks. So
yeah. Combine those two, and you got some player there.
Number 4, Joe Root. Finally scored a century in Australia. He even got 2.
Twice, yeah.
He didn't have a great series. I don't think. Did he have a great series?
I wouldn't say he had a great series for Root standards. If someone else had that series, I would say, like, for example, if that had been Marnus, I would have said really good series for Marnus. But for Root standards, I don't think he had the greatest series. But those 2 innings were just like unbelievable. I think the one in the pink ball test was better because the situation was trickier and the pressure that was on him, and also the fact that I was against a pink ball. Root's good enough to negate that, but he never ever plays against a pink ball outside of the 3 days of training that he had, whatever it was. So I think that was the better innings. But I'm just so happy for him. Like, I don't think there's not one person in England who will dispute he's the greatest, at least greatest batter, but I was the greatest ever cricketer to play for England. So yeah, like I just think. I would say he had a good series, therefore, on that basis. He didn't have a great series, but I would say he had a good series.
It's 400 runs at 44.44. I think that's okay. I think by Root's lofty standards, I think that's pretty good. I thought, did I prefer the 100 at the SCG? I thought the 100 at the SCG was kind of vintage Root. I thought that's...
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
It was, do you know, going back to the Gabba test, and it really made me laugh because there was a point where he got when he went from 80 to 100, and there was a point where he was just like, I'm just going to start running every single ball down to third man. because I feel so comfortable with that shot. It's like when you play the cricket game and a left armer is bowling you and you just kind of flick it off your legs because that's really comfortable when you know that you
Every
can't
single
get
time.
out to that shot.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that's it. That's what it felt like Root was doing, and it was a fantastic moment to be at the Gather to watch
I can imagine.
Root's first ever test, and it was difficult because so we landed at 6 a.m. the day of day one at Brisbane, and then the test started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So by the time it got to Root scoring his ton at about 8:30 at night on the Thursday, I'd been awake since Tuesday morning, so I hadn't slept for about 2.5 days at this point.
That is crazy.
Um, and I was like, I just want to go home, but this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to see Joe Root score his first ever 100 in Australia. I was like, I just
Yeah,
have to stay.
of
And I
course.
did.
Of course. Yeah.
Literally, he hit 100. I saw him celebrate, and I left, and I went to bed and slept for like 14 hours.
I don't
Um,
blame you. That is dedication. But you're right. It's once in a lifetime opportunity, and so you
yeah,
gotta grab it with both hands.
I thought Root was okay. Brooke, I thought he had an okay series. It reminded me a little bit of his 2023 series,
Yeah, yeah,
where he was relatively quiet. He had a couple of 50s. He had that one really important knock, again in the Headingley test, but just never no, obviously still no Ashes 100. And I thought this was his series, and I thought the biggest thing in this series was going to be who outperforms out of Brook and Head in that middle order. Obviously, Head going to the top of the order makes that slightly different, but it's 358 runs at 40. It's not
yeah.
terrible.
No, I don't think Brook played. He didn't play anywhere near the levels that he can. But I don't also like. Again, like if Marnus had that series, I would have said like good series, given the form he's been in. Or if Green had that series or something like that. But Brook is like, well, he's still number 2, right? I think in the test rankings, like
Yeah.
one of the best players in the world. There was just moments where he just didn't bat with his brain. He's probably the worst case for just being a little bit sort of like, making a stupid error at the crease, I guess. There was the reverse sweep. That was Adelaide, wasn't it? That reverse sweep that he played. And that wasn't a great shot. In a way, I don't mind it because like Brook is good at that shot, but the situation of the game, that was not a good shot at a good moment.
No.
Yeah, Brook showed flashes, but I think I don't know, he almost let the occasion get to his head a little bit. I think the charging of Stark first ball at Melbourne, I think that was, all that sort of stuff, almost
Mm.
sort of like played into it, and I think that's why people sort of negatively looking back on the series from Brook, and he definitely should have done better. There's no doubt about
Yeah. I want to come back to Stokes, so we'll leave Stokes. We've done Smith, we've done Jacks. Let's look at the bowlers. I kind of want to do the bowlers all together because it was a team effort to bowl that badly most of the time. Bryden Cast was wayward for most of it. I don't think he was helped. He's not a new ball bowler.
No,
Um,
definitely not.
he's
He's
not
not
even.
bowled a new ball in his Test career before that. Like, well, before did he open the ball? No, he didn't. Atkinson or Archer, but after that, he opened the ball in every Test, didn't he? He's not a new ball bowler at all.
No, I didn't understand it.
And I'm a really big fan of Cast as well. By the way, I've loved him for years at Durham. I was so happy when he got picked for England. Like, I was buzzing, but he's definitely not a new ball bowler. I don't think he bowled. I know he got 20 odd wickets, 22 wickets, whatever it was, but I don't think he bowled well. Like that was nowhere near Cast's sort of genuine ability level, I don't think.
But the thing is, he was asked to do a job that he's just not very good at. What Cast is
Yeah, yeah.
really good at is bowling that heavy length, bowling a bouncer, being that enforcer, that second change, someone you throw the ball to and the ball's got a bit soft or the pitch has gone a bit flat, and he kind of buys you a wicket. He's going to go at 5 and over, and his figures might look like 3 for 100 at the moment. But those 3 wickets are really important because you've just broken a big partnership
Yeah,
That's what Cast is really good at. I think
yeah,
Broad said his opening spell, like his opening bowling spells, was 31 overs, 3 for 147.
yeah.
It's not enough control with a new ball.
He's not an opening bowler. Like he's really not. And I wish Tong would open the bowling because I think Tong doesn't. Well, this series actually bowling a lot of control against India. He was criticised for having no control. Think of that famous graphics that Sky made. That's been all over Twitter, where he's spraying the ball everywhere, but has picked up wickets. But I think he bowled a lot of good control in this series. For me,
I,
he was England's player of the series. I think, like
yeah,
in
I'd have him
terms
as
of
player of the series.
how well someone did. Like Anna Root obviously scored a few runs, but I would probably say he was player of the series. I think he was
Yeah,
brilliant.
I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was England's best bowler by far. It was 18 wickets at 20.
Yeah,
Um, he
4 for 5
took
as well. Look,
and from 3 tests.
yeah, I mean he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant, and I wish he'd played in Perth because I think he would have been brilliant in Perth. I really think he would have been brilliant in Perth.
He
So
should have
we'll
played all
never
five
know.
tests.
He 100% should have, yeah. But obviously England are notorious for managing the fitness of the bowlers and managing the workload. But cast aside, because they didn't really have much of a choice, I guess. But I wanted Potts to play earlier. Potts was obviously dreadful, but I think he has been really dealt a shorthand in terms of the situation he was thrown into. Didn't bowl well, of course, but I love Potts. I think he's a great bowler as well. So Potts should have played earlier. Tong should have definitely
Potts
played
should
all
have played at the
practice.
Gabba and at the MCG. I know we
Yeah.
won the MCG game, but I thought he should have played at the MCG and he should have played at the Gabba, and that should have been the 2 games. That's okay.
Yeah.
This is what Potts does. He's going to put it line of length. He's going to nibble it about a bit. Kind of Scott Boland light, like nowhere near the level of
Yeah.
Scott Boland, but kind of it does that. And we'll do it. You can bowl
That's
your
sort of
7, 8
like,
over
yeah.
spells, workhorse stuff, new ball bowler, because that's one thing that England just has not taken. Is a new ball bowler. We have
Yeah.
Jofra. I know Gus Atkinson now takes the new ball, but he didn't before.
No.
He didn't do it for Surrey.
For me, there's one obvious new ball bowler who has to play, and it's Ollie Robinson. I'm sorry, he has to come back into the side. There's just whatever's happened in the past in terms of like whatever beef he has with Stokes McCullum, they just have to put it behind them now because he is too good to not play. He would have been perfect in so many of these tests. Like he has to play in the summer. I don't think he will, but for me, he's got to be playing. Like it's got to be Archer, Tong, and then either Cars, Atkinson, or Ollie Robinson, and I'd probably lean towards Ollie Robinson out of the three of them. Like he's got to be given a chance, and it's infuriating that he's just never going to play again under this management.
It was also a lack of variety in that pace attack, which is something
Yeah,
that we have spoken about a
yeah,
lot. And
100%. But that's what they wanted to do. Though they wanted a pace attack who was just ball gas, basically. Like if you look at the attack that they had in Perth, Atkinson was the slowest, and he bowls at like 85, like regularly. Like that's like Atkinson's regular speed is 85 miles an hour. You have two bowlers who can hit 95 miles an hour pretty comfortably, or 92, 93 miles an hour pretty comfortably.
but
So
the thing that annoyed me about that was that it was either Stokes or McCullum. I think it might have been McCullum that came out and said, "Well, we weren't expecting pitches like this."
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
why? Fucking turn your TV on for the last 4
Did he
years
watch?
and watch a test match in Australia.
Did he
This
watch
is what
last
it
year? Like,
is.
yeah,
You could have watched Bumrah and Boland average 13 in that last series.
yeah, it's
All
crazy.
you have to do is just watch a couple of test matches and realise that you do not need hit the length 90-mile-an-hour bowlers anymore. 83 mile an hour, bobbing it around,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Michael Nisa.
Look at Nisa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Michael Nisa
it's
took 15 wickets at 20.
yeah. He and Boland were both exceptional. They both did what Ollie Robinson would have done. Well, also with Robinson, you get the extra facts of that. He's pretty tall. Like he gets a lot of extra bounce, Robinson, or a Sam Cook. He would have been so good on some of those wickets. Like it's infuriating. Like, could you imagine Sam Cook at the MCG and that MCG pitch? Like he would have been
Could you
unbelievable.
imagine Jimmy Anderson?
All those times we had Jimmy abroad, and they were just sort of bowling on the wrong pitches. But of course, they're going to get picked. And now, finally, we get pitches that they're good for, and they're not around anymore. So annoyed in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they really got let down. I was impressed with Jofra before
I thought Josh
he
Muller, yeah.
got injured. I
He,
still think he could if that series is still alive. I think he plays one of two of these last two tests.
I think they did the right thing. Like we've seen
I
them.
agree.
I go back to this all the time. The Champions Trophy with Wood making him bowl there again. That was just pointless. The Champions Trophy is important, but realistically, the Ashes is way more important, and India at home is way more important. I couldn't care less about the Champions Trophy in the grand scheme of things. Don't like Wood should not have played then, and we might have had Wood for more tests in the summer, or any tests in the summer, and more tests in the Ashes. So they did the right thing with Archer. The series was done. If we lose 3-2, or if we lose 5-0, well, splitting hairs, I
Still
guess.
lost, didn't you?
Still lost. So
They've said that they don't care about the World Test Championship, so you're not playing for that. Yeah, rest him, get him ready for the T20 World Cup. Let's go and try and win that. I think you need Jofra Archer to win that T20 World Cup.
100%. So I was happy that like people were like, there was again such an overreaction on social media of like, oh, it's Archer, of course he's injured, but actually Archer's not had many injury issues or any
No, he hasn't.
injury issues that I could think of since he came back 2 years ago now, basically. So it was just overreaction, and of course you want Archer fully fit and rested. So I'm glad that they looked after him the way they did.
And I never expected to get more than 3 tests out of Jofra Archer.
No, he had to play as well those 3 tests. He absolutely had to, because he had to play in Perth. Then he had to play in Brisbane because Wood got injured as well. You need someone like that, especially in a pink ball test with how he can move the ball. And then he obviously had to play in Adelaide because we were about to lose. So there was no other choice. Like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. England's bowlers just not good enough at the end of the day. They just didn't put the balls in the right place for long enough, and Australia's
On
did.
the side, I don't think anyone. I did think Archer bowled well. I actually thought the 9 wickets that he took was 9, right? I think those wickets that he took were not reflective of how well he bowled. I think he bowled better than 9 wickets. And also, it's sort of a separate issue, but that battle that he had with Smith at the end of the day-night test was just gripping to watch. Like, I loved that. Yeah, exactly. One of them for Smith. It was proper box office. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was good fun.
It was mint.
Okay. Combined series 11. Who is? Should we do the openers first? Let's see. I reckon we've probably got the same side.
Yeah, we'll be far off. Well, I don't know. I struggled with my balance.
Have you fudged getting Bethel in?
You'll find out in a second.
Okay.
Okay, so the openers I've got ahead, of course, and I didn't know who else to pick, so I had to pick Crawley because I didn't know. Like, I don't think he averaged 27. He shouldn't be in a team of the series, but like he's better than Weatherald. He's better than Duckett. Thus, makes the 11. So
that is also my reasoning.
Yeah.
My other thought was to put Bethel to open.
Okay.
But
I toyed with that idea as well.
But I wanted to keep an opener, that's someone that's actually open. So yes, I also have Crawley and Head. You're 3 and 4.
At 3, I have gone Bethel because I think he was the best number 3 in the series. I mean, Marnus didn't do anything really.
No, he had a really poor series.
Marnus was rubbish, really, for being honest. When did he get 50? He got 50 in Perth, right? I think did he get another 50? He didn't get any more than 2 50s.
It was a 50 in Perth in the chase, wasn't it? When England would.
Yeah. Like Marnus was rubbish and Pope was rubbish. So Bethel, he scored, like I said earlier, he scored a brilliant 100, a crucial 40 in that run chase. And then in the other 2 innings, just got 2 good balls, which would get most people out. So I put Bethel at 3 because I do think he deserves to go in at 3. And then at 4, Root.
Yeah.
That's what
I had Smith at 3. But I want to go Bethel now. I want to go Bethel at 3 instead of Smith. I think Bethel's runs contributed more to the team than Smith's did.
Yep, fair enough.
Smith, had a 70 at the Gabba? 60, 70 at the Gabba?
Something
and
like
then
that,
obviously had the 100 at the SCG.
And missed the test with the flattest wicket, unfortunately for him, which is such a shame because I think he would have got so many runs on that pitch.
Yes. What was Smith? The problem is he's got 3 not outs. So it makes his average look really good because
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah,
57.2 and he scored 100 and 150.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Do I want to go? Do I want to go Bethel? What did Bethel do? 51, scored 100, won us the game. I'm going Bethel. I'm going Bethel.
Fair enough. I rate it. I rate it.
And I'm going Root at 4. Who have you got at 5?
But I actually had Root at 5, and I moved him up one, and I'm putting Smith at 5 because I think the way he led Australia was like the way he captained Australia was good. Aside from what I mentioned earlier, like the little tiny. Well,
Yeah,
I'm really nitpicking here about putting taking Boland off and Boland Webster. Like, I think Smith captained really well. Obviously, the one test he didn't play wouldn't have been captain anyway. So led 4 tests. The 100 he scored was just like vintage Smith. Like, he was brilliant. I thought the entertainment value he added was good as well. Obviously, that doesn't really get him in the team of the tournament. Sorry, team of the series, but I'm adding it in there as a factor, I guess. And then obviously the runs he got as well at the Gabble. I just love Smith, so I'm always going to try and fit him in where possible. And as well, I thought he caught brilliantly, which
yeah,
is just a factor of his game. But I thought his slip fielding was sensational. So I put Root and Smith 4 and 5. I don't know whichever way you
yeah.
do.
I think I'm going to go the same. I think I'm going to go Smith at 5, and I'm going to leave out Brook.
Yeah,
It just there was too much promise for Brook. I mean, Brook's numbers don't look terrible. They really don't. I mean, 350 runs at 40 isn't terrible. So yeah. When did he get a not out?
Brook got a not out. I don't remember that. There was no possible.
In
England
the
got bowled
chase.
out. Oh yeah, but then at the
Yeah, it
MCG
was. It was in the
not out.
chase, wasn't it?
Yeah,
At the
yeah, yeah.
MCG.
I forgot about that. Wow, fair play to him.
Yeah. Okay. I've just seen that on the stats.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah, it would have been.
Stokes 6.
No, Carey at 6, Stoke 7.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Just because I think Carey's a better batter than Stokes. So
Yeah, I've got Stokes 6, Carey 7.
Again, splitting hairs, I guess. But, yeah.
Yeah, number 8.
Stark
Okay.
Was close to being a genuine all-rounder as he's probably ever got in his career in this series.
Yeah, what do you have? 250s?
Yeah, gutted he couldn't get that 100 because obviously his highest scores 99 still, isn't it? So he's in that annoying club of never getting of being out on 99, whatever that club is. Warren's in it as well. Can't remember exactly. But, yeah, like Smith at 8 again. Sorry, Stark at 8. I don't think.
I've got Nisa at 8, Stark at
Fair enough.
9.
Fair enough.
I just think Nisa had a really good series, just quietly.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I think Nisa was great, and he's someone who has worked really hard in Shield cricket and obviously played county cricket as well. So it's nice to see him getting that reward, similar to Boland, I guess. Plugged away in state cricket for years, and nice to get that reward eventually. So, yeah. So instead of Nisa, I had Archer.
Yeah,
again, I think he bowled really well. Like I said earlier, I don't think his wicket tally reflected how he bowled as such. So yeah, I had Archer at 9. Also Archer batted well as well.
he did have that.
Well.
He had the 50 obviously at Adelaide, and then he had the 35, 40 at the Gabba.
He guided Root to his 100, didn't he? Basically,
yeah.
So I thought Archer batted pretty well.
Yeah, I've gone with Nisa. It's 15 wickets at 20. It's a couple of important 20s and 30s as well.
Yeah, he batted well as Night's Watchman.
Yeah. And then 10, I've gone Tongue.
Yeah, well,
or Boland, whatever.
Yeah,
I've got Tongue on Boland, 10 and 11.
Yeah. I think that's so. We pretty much had the same team there, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, apart from Nisa and
yeah, we even managed to fit Bethel in, which is maybe a little bit biased, but I do think he deserved to.
It's not though, is it? If you're picking position for position, he's been better than Pope, and he's been better than Labuschagne.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he can't score many runs fewer than Labuschagne. He really, I don't have the exact.
I think he scored more
numbers. He scored more than Labuschagne.
I think he has. Yeah.
Oh well, then 100%. No, that's undisputable. Yeah, I don't think there's anything sort of wrong.
No,
with that,
no, that is a lie. Sorry.
Labuschagne
Labuschagne got 259. He's
So
50 short.
he definitely deserves to be in the team, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only. He's one of 2 players to average 50 in this series. Him and Smith are the
Yeah.
only ones that are averaging 50.
I don't think anyone could dispute that. Then.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, what happens to McCullum Stokes Key?
$1 million question, isn't it? For me, Key absolutely has to go. Key's the one who needs to go. If anyone's head's going to roll, it's got to be Key first. I think a lot of this falls onto him. He was obviously somewhat in charge of even the preparation and things like that. Like, I don't know if you listened. I assume you will have listened to his interview with Nas and others before the Boxing Day test. And I thought, firstly, I thought Key came across really well in that. He was very honest, very open. Nas and others obviously quality, properly putting him under the microscope sort of thing. But I think that Key has to go. Some of the stuff that he said in that was a little bit sort of strange to me, I thought. And yeah, he's got to go. Stokes stay as long as he's fit, I guess, and wants to. I also don't see who else could captain the side. You mentioned maybe Hamid. Bethel, yeah, why not? The thing is, I actually think Bethel would be a great captain as well.
I think he's going to be England Test captain.
Oh, 100%, yeah. But you can argue it's not too early. I mean,
I want to Graham Smith him and just give him the captaincy now.
Why not? How old was he? 19 when he got the captaincy.
Yeah, right? I think so.
Yeah, Bethel's older than that.
Yeah, exactly. He's done it already. That was a big series in Ireland.
Yeah, well, there you go. I forgot about that. Exactly, there you go. But no, in all seriousness, Stokes, I would keep it. I think Stokes' batting has got a lot worse. I know he got that 100 against India, but overall his batting is just really, really declined. I would even consider batting him 8 in the summer and just saying tee off, basically.
He can't do that anymore.
Tee off.
So this is my role for him. Is he opens the batting and the bowling? I know that sounds ridiculous, but he's our best at the moment. Obviously, if you pick a Robinson or a Cook or something like that, then that changes with. But if you're going to go in with this attack, he should have been opening the bowling.
I agree.
And he cannot hit the ball anymore. He just does not have that ability to tee off. We saw that at Adelaide when he was batting with the tail. He doesn't have the ability to just go and be aggressive. So I think you open the batting with him and you just ask him to dead ball it so the ball is soft for everyone else when they come in.
I mean, it's not the worst idea. I really don't know how Stokes' role looks. I think he definitely needs to bat 7 because I want to see Smith bat 6 because I think he's not a number 7. And also, if you are dropping Smith, again, obviously I wouldn't do that, but if you are to, you're probably bringing in James Rew and he can't bat 7. That's way too low. He's got to bat 6 minimum. So I would probably want to see Stokes at 7 regardless. There's no one else in my mind who can captain that side. And I remember they said on TMS, I can't remember who it was. Someone said on TMS, there's no one who you can see captaining Stokes again in Test cricket. I can't.
I know what you mean.
When Root quit or when Cook quit, it sort of felt natural to pass it on to Stokes or to Root himself. I can't see Brook captaining Stokes in a Test match. I just can't envisage that in my head. I can't see Bethel doing it. The only possible way is Root does it, but that's a backward step. That's not evolving as a team. I just don't see it happening. So either Stokes plays, therefore he's captain, or Stokes retires essentially, and therefore let someone else take over the reins. The other issue is who would step in for Stokes. I mentioned Sam Curran before. He's the only person I would want replacing Stokes, and he's really nothing like Stokes. It's just because he's a left-handed all-rounder, left arm, which obviously is nice, and I think Sam Curran's a quality player anyway.
Rihanna would pick 4 seamers.
That's the other option, yeah. But I think 7 is too low for Rihanna to bat as well. He's in 3-4 sort of thing. So for me, if Stokes is playing, he has to be captain. And I do want Stokes. I do want to see Stokes have another summer. The other question is, where do you draw the line? How far along do we go with Stokes at the helm? I don't know. There's a lot of questions, but for me, I can't. I agree with what they said on TMS. I can't see anyone else captaining Stokes. But
No.
if he stayed, he has to be captain.
What about McCallum?
He basically said to Nas, he's not going to change, didn't he? At the
Yeah,
end of the year.
I'd listened to that interview earlier.
So it depends. If he's actually just saying he's not going to change the way his team plays, or like he didn't clarify that. That's a very open-ended statement. Like personally, I would get rid of Baz. The issue is
Yeah.
he's white ball coach as well now. That probably creates an extra
That's it.
sort of
Sack him.
well, but in terms of would then he if he gets sacked, would he then might just say, "Well, I don't want to do the white ball stuff either." He can go and make millions coaching franchise cricket, or go and get the New Zealand job one day. Or
what do we lose from losing McCallum as white ball coach?
well, no, I understand that, but then it's the effort of going to find potentially two coaches. Like I think that's what England will be thinking potentially. Like the ECB will be thinking.
I get it. I wouldn't make a decision before the T20 World Cup. I'd give him the T20 World Cup. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
We're far too close to even think about that. But I would, I'd get rid of him. I'd sack him. I think Key and McCallum have got to go, and I would take the risk of Stokes walking. I don't think he would.
I just think Stokes' decision is Stokes' decision. I would be happy for Stokes to stay, but if he decides he's had enough because of he doesn't have the heart for it anymore, because his body can't take it, whatever, then fair enough. Go off into the sunset. But if Stokes wants to stay, then that's fine as well by me. Maybe I'm being sentimental there, but yeah, I think McCullum probably yes. Key most definitely. Stokes no, unless he wants to stop. So out of interest, who would you want to replace Baz in? Let's just say Test cricket alone. Who would
Owen
you have any
Morgan.
ideas? Owen Morgan, nice. I like that idea.
I think, and he's obviously like everyone wants him for the white ball job and everything else that comes with it, and how good England were between 2015 and 2019. I think that there is a line that Owen Morgan draws perfectly to how the kind of general public want this team to play. I think we want that exciting kind of Bazball style of play.
Yeah, of course. It is fun when it works. Like, there's no denying that. It's brilliant.
But has the discipline and the stats and the timing to back it up that Owen Morgan's white ball team had at the time.
100%. 100%.
Now, I know that Owen Morgan isn't the best test player we've ever produced or played a lot of test cricket, but I think he could do that job.
He has a cricketing brain as well.
Perfectly. I was listening to him today in the SA20 and I thought, no, that's who should be red ball coach.
Yeah,
if he wants to do the white ball stuff as well, that is absolutely fine. And maybe I'd pick him for the white ball stuff before I'd pick him for the red ball stuff. But I think he would do a fantastic job as red ball coach.
Yeah, I love that suggestion. For me, there are two names aside from Morgan who I didn't even consider. Trott is someone I think would be brilliant. I would love.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think he, from what I can see, sort of just by reading stuff online, seems to want a county job. I wanted him as Lions coach before Crofty got it permanently. So I could see him maybe just getting a county job. He obviously did work with Glamorgan as well last season at the start of the season, or towards the start of the season. So maybe that's further down the line, but I would love Trott. And the other one, he seems to love Jacob Bethel as well. So he might actually make him captain, is Justin Langer. Like, I just think that would be a very out there pick. I don't know if he'd take the job. I don't know if he'd want to come and work for England with the ties he has to Australia as a player and a coach. But I just think that Justin Langer's Australia were brilliant. I absolutely loved them, and I would love. Maybe that's because we saw more of them through the Amazon documentary as well. I don't know, but I would love it if he was England head coach. I just think he would be brilliant. So for me, either one of those or Morgan as well. I'm adding to that since
I like the idea of Langer. Again, I don't think Stokes and Langer work very well together.
No. They clash a lot. I think I get that impression. He needs someone like Cummins who's very much he's more mellow than Stokes, for want of a better phrase.
Well, yeah, it's almost like if you were going to go Langer, then you'd go Brook as captain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I say, he loves Bethel. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if you just give it to Bethel. Like, genuinely, like the way he was talking about him on TNT was he's loving him. So Like, yeah,
Yeah, he
I
really
imagine.
was.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't hate Trot. Again, it's that clashing with Stokes thing.
yeah, yeah.
That I think could happen. Could Trot be a little bit too quiet for that dressing room?
But then again, this all comes down to Stokes' future as well. And while there's no clarity on that, it's hard to say which way England will go.
Yeah, I have to admit, when Trot um left the Afghanistan job, I thought, okay, if this Ashes goes badly, he's a real shot for that England coaching job.
100%. 100%. Yeah. I think there are some good candidates. Another name, maybe I'm just listing people I wanted to coach Lancs when we sacked Becky. But the other name I would really like is Ashwell Prince. I think he's a great head coach, has won stuff in franchise cricket or domestic cricket, and also was a batting coach in the for South Africa when they won the World Test Championship. Like, I know sort of firsthand that he's one of the nicest blokes in cricket, Ashwell. So yeah, he's maybe another name, but I think that's probably less likely. I don't see him leaving South Africa.
Do you know what's the worst possible result? And it's a shame because I love both of them. Um, is Harry Brook captain, Freddie Flintoff coach.
Yeah, I don't want Flintoff as coach, and I love Flintoff, but I think it's too soon for him. I want to see him do more stuff. I want to see him do a Red Bull gig that's not just the Lions, which is a little bit different because it's so separated and disjointed, the
Yeah,
Lions in it. So, yeah, I'm not sure about Flintoff, but I feel like they're almost sort of preparing him to take over eventually. It feels very sort of Baz orientated, doesn't it?
and
Um,
and I think that was the plan for when kind of Stokes and McCullum went into the sunset together. Say we get to
yeah,
the 27 Ashes, Stokes retires, McCullum says, "Yeah, my work here is done." Then all of a sudden, the kind of the young boys of Bazpool in Flintoff and Brook come in, and I think that was
yeah,
the long term plan that has obviously gone miserably wrong now because we know how
yeah.
bad that could possibly be.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that one, but I don't think that. I mean, they obviously worked together in the hundred into that combo, and
The thing is, I don't hate Brook as a captain.
oh no, I think Brooks a good captain. I just don't think he needs someone who's almost gonna like put an arm around his shoulder and be like a Morgan, like probably how I think Trot would be, I'd imagine, and how Langer would be. Someone who's almost gonna like be a mentor to him in a way off the pitch.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying Flintoff wouldn't do that, but I think Flintoff is very much more of a sort of a happy-go-lucky is not quite the right phrase, but that sort of
It's Baz again,
more
isn't it?
laid back. Yeah, more laid
It's
back.
Baz with a Preston accent.
Yeah, and I love it. Like I love Flintoff. I don't have a
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
to say against him, but I just don't know if he'd be the right appointment for England, hypothetically in the summer or beyond. Even I want to see him do more coaching stuff.
yeah, I agree. But I think that is pretty much the Ashes wrapped up. If we talk about it anymore, we will be at the 2027 Ashes, which we can now start talking about because it is the next Ashes series. So start getting in your combined 11s for the 2027 Ashes. We don't know who's going to play there yet. Half the Australian team could retire overnight after the drinks. Who knows?
We have one test before that as well. We have the centenary test.
Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah, we got to play
So
that.
there's another chance to beat Australia or to lose to Australia more.
It could be. You think about it. We win that test. We win three. We go 3-0 up at home. That's 5-4. We've won an away Ashes. Then there it
I'm
is.
counting it.
That's
I'm
done.
counting it.
And for that, remember to like, subscribe,
We
follow
could
the
beat Australia
podcast.
6-0 in 1 year.
Yeah, do all the stuff that you would like to do. It does massively help us out, and this will be a regular occurrence. So we will be bringing this back from now into the T20 World Cup, into the Sri Lanka series, into the English summer, and hopefully stay a little bit more consistent with it. But thank you all for watching. If you do want to check out Joe, all of his stuff will be down in the description. Joe, thank you very much for joining me. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys probably start next week.